I need your help, please subscribe my channel. When Lily first said it, she laughed so hard tears rolled down her cheeks. We were curled up on the couch, half watching some romantic comedy about a woman torn between two men. She nudged me playfully and joked, "You better treat me right or I'll call my backup guy." I laughed, shook my head, and brushed it off as one of her lighthearted moods. That was just how we were, sarcastic teasing, always trading playful jabs. But that night, something about her tone stuck with me longer than it should have. I tried convincing myself it was harmless, just part of our banter. Yet over the next few weeks, that backup man line started making more appearances. Sometimes she'd drop it during arguments, smirking, "Good thing I've got options." Other times she'd bring up a coworker named Ryan. Someone who just gets her, who understands her. First, I didn't read much into it. I believed love was built on trust. No checking phones, no paranoia, no fights over jokes. But trust feels fragile when you realize you're the only one still protecting it. One evening I walked into the kitchen and caught her texting, smiling at her phone. The second she noticed me, she set it down and pretended to be busy washing dishes. It wasn't the first time, but that moment hit differently. Trying to sound casual, I asked, "That Ryan guy again?" She didn't look up. "Oh please, don't be jealous. You're acting insecure." That word, insecure, always shut me down. She knew it did. It made me doubt myself instead of questioning her. But the truth was, I wasn't jealous. I was worried. I could feel her slipping away emotionally, mentally, maybe even physically. She stopped waiting up for me at night, stopped asking how my day had gone. Every talk turned into a critique, how I wasn't fun anymore, how I took life too seriously. And then came the night everything changed, when her joke turned into something painfully real. She came home late, reeking of someone else's cologne. When I asked where she'd been, she laughed. "Relax," she said lightly. "I told you, I was out with my backup." For a few seconds I just stood there trying to process what she'd said. The casual way she delivered it, like it meant nothing, hurt worse than shouting ever could. "You're joking, right?" I asked quietly. She shrugged, walking past me toward the bedroom. "You're so dramatic," she muttered. "You can't take a joke anymore." But her voice was cold, detached, not teasing, not familiar. And that was the moment something inside me shifted. This wasn't about humor anymore. It was about respect, or what was left of it. Over the next few weeks, everything slowly unraveled. She started dressing differently, lingerie hidden under casual outfits, perfume she'd never worn before, her phone glued to her hand even in the bathroom. I told myself not to jump to conclusions, but the signs were everywhere, in tiny, undeniable details. Whenever I confronted her, she'd twist it around. "You're paranoid," she'd sigh. "Why can't you just trust me?" Same lines, same performance. Deflect. Guilt trip. Repeat. Then one evening, I came home earlier than usual and saw a black car parked outside. Lily wasn't expecting me. Through the window, I saw her sitting at the dining table with Ryan, the coworker she used to laugh about. They were close. Too close. My chest tightened, but I didn't storm in. I waited. A few minutes later he left, and she came upstairs trying to sound composed. "You're home early," she said. "Yeah," I replied evenly. "So is Ryan." Her face drained of color before she forced a laugh. "Come on. We were just talking about work." I didn't argue. I just looked at her, really looked, and realized I no longer recognized the woman standing in front of me. The light that once felt warm now looked calculated. That night, she slept on the far edge of the bed, facing away from me. I stared at the ceiling, thinking how love can die long before a relationship does. You start feeling the emptiness in the silence, in the absence of touch, in laughter that sounds forced. She didn't say good night. Neither did I. A few days later, she packed a small bag and said she needed space. I didn't try to stop her. There was no point. Deep down, I knew the space she wanted was already filled by the man she used to joke about. She didn't come home for 2 weeks. I threw myself into work, met up with old friends, tried convincing myself it was temporary. But every night when I came back to that quiet house, the silence felt heavier. The couch no longer smelled like her perfume. Her laughter was gone from the walls. And I realized I was mourning someone who wasn't dead, just changed. When she finally returned, she looked drained. Not ashamed. Not guilty. Just tired. I've been staying with Ryan, she said, her tone flat like she'd rehearsed it. I didn't interrupt. I wanted to hear her say it clearly without jokes or half-truths. He makes me feel alive, she continued. You stopped trying. You became too serious. Too distant. I nodded slowly, not because I agreed, but because I understood how people rewrite stories when it makes them feel justified. I could have reminded her of every time I'd been there, every moment she'd chosen to turn away. But I didn't. I just asked one question. And what happens when he stops making you feel alive? She didn't answer. After that, I didn't chase her. No calls. No texts. No checking her posts. I let her have her version of freedom. The first few weeks were brutal. The bed felt enormous, the mornings painfully still. But then came something unexpected. Peace. Not joy, not yet, but peace. I started cooking again. Rearranged the house. Joined a hiking group on weekends. Each small act reminded me that moving on wasn't about forgetting her. It was about remembering myself. Months later, I saw her at a cafe. She looked different, older, smaller somehow. Ryan wasn't with her. She hesitated before walking over, holding her coffee like a shield. Hey, she said softly. You look good. I smiled politely. Thanks. You too. There was a pause, heavy with all the things we didn't need to say. She let out a nervous laugh. Remember when I used to joke about my backup man? I met her eyes. Yeah, I said quietly. Looks like the backup became permanent. She tried to smile, but it never reached her eyes. Not exactly, she murmured. He left. I just nodded, wished her well, and walked away. For the first time in years, I didn't feel anger, only clarity. Love shouldn't feel like a competition. And jokes should never turn into truths. Some lessons only sink in after the laughter fades.